Okay, fantastic. We are live.
Yes. Welcome, viewers, to Varun Kapur show, Freedom from Addiction series. Today we have the 12th episode, and our guest today is Rachana Nadella Somayajula. Many of you here know her very well, but those who are just for your sake, I'm introducing her again. Rachana is fondly RS by all of us. She teaches coding and robotics to children aged 6 and 16. She's a certified cognitive behavioral therapist and neuro linguistic programming coach. She touches the lives of people in 25 countries. She's the founder of Future Strong Academy. She wants to demonstrate to parents and children how unstoppable we are if only we truly believe in our own potential. Rachana knows the genesis of the show. We are all together in this journey. But for some of the viewers, this may be new because you have looked at the topic digital addiction and you have popped in here. Now, our journey together in the Varun Kapur channel began because of Sushant Singh Rajput. This young, dynamic, compassionate, talented actor, artist, and humanist. He was just done away with very cruelly on 14th of June 2020. That is when we came to know about it. Worldwide, there is protest because we want to find out what happened to him as it was projected as suicide, depression, depression that was caused due to drug addiction. That was one of the causes that was touted. But we all very well knew he could not have been a drug addict voluntarily. At the same time, there are indications to show that he was fed drugs without his knowledge, and it was given in coffee and tea and like the likes of those things. And he was never that kind of a person, as per people who worked with him, as per people who worked with him in movies, who worked with him in everyday life, who stayed with him, his friends, everybody. So now, what is happening is we are realizing that if that can happen to such a talented, intelligent person as Sushant Singh Rajput, then millions of young people in our country are vulnerable. And they could be tempted to any kind of addiction. It could be tobacco, it could be drugs, it could be alcohol, and other kinds of addictions are also impacting us. So we thought, why not we work on these so that we have a generation of young people who use their potential, their intelligence, their energies in the right way. So that is why we started this. And Varun Kapur is completely invested in this. So that is why this channel is dedicated to this program on Saturdays. So, Rachna, let's start our conversation. Burnout has been a significant problem working for, but it is worrying so many young people that they are already reporting feelings of burnout, like you mentioned, and they are in the early stage of their career. And we wonder why so many young people are feeling overwhelmed not only work, but this widespread sentiment that we are burnt out, we are fed up. Why is it happening? So we wanted to find out that, and then we realized that there are many issues there in the present work scenario. There is the inability to set boundaries and say no to work because people are working from home and remote working is happening. There is rising inflation, there is financial instability. Working on the side hustle because people are always feeling insecure and they want to either into content creation or entrepreneurship, etc., besides their routine work. And in addition to all this, people are putting about additionally 4.5 hours of screen time on social media on an average. So this is not the time like you are with your family, you're talking with your mother, brother, father, mother, spouse, children. No, this has a different kind of an effect on you. And that is probably causing, and it is proven that it is causing a lot of stress. And this is avoidable. So Rachana has done a deep study on this. And so that is why we are here to find out how it is that we can detox ourselves, how we can go on a diet. What is a diet? A diet is something where we know what is good for us and we consume that. We don't totally do away with something, but we remove what is not good for ourselves and we consume only what is good for us. So, can we have mindful consumption of technology? That is what we are going to discuss today. So, we don't want to be a generation of digiholics, but we want to have a text balance without burning out. So, Rachana, over to you.
Okay, great points, Girija ji. So, two of the words that you say stand out to me. The first thing is burnout. So, why are we experiencing this burnout? Especially those of us who are privileged enough to have a roof over our head, who have a job, who have means to feed themselves on a regular basis without having to worry where their next meal is coming from. All those first world problems that we have. Oh, I'm just stressed too much. Is this really a sign of us not being able to manage ourselves, or is this a sign of something bigger? So, burnout and binging. So, we are living on the cusp of burnout and binging. That is what is happening here. So every one of you who is here, thank you for being here. You could be doing so many things with your attention in this attention economy, but you have chosen to be here. So thank you so much. Let's talk about how we are living lives. This is going to be a summary of what we are going to be talking about here, Girija ji. So the thing is, binging on one hand, burnout on the other. There has to be a balance between these two if we come together to try to understand all the things that are sabotaging our productivity and our potential. So if we understand this, they how we are inherently understanding the digital landscape is the prime focus here. The 3 points here that I would like to talk about. The first is we are confusing our digital cheers for connection. If anybody gives us likes, if anybody gives us heart emojis, if anybody is like throwing all these things, comments at us, we are thinking that that is the essence of how deep we can get into any kind of a relationship. Okay, the second thing is we are
So
confusing.
very true. Yes.
Yes, thank you. So the second point is we are confusing 24 by 7 connectivity for deep connection and productivity. So if we are busy 24 by 7, somehow we are being productive. That is how we are labeling ourselves, because what is the whole core essence of addiction? Whatever we are doing is measurable. So if I'm playing a video game for 4 hours, I am measuring that at the beginning of the game, I had 0 points. Now I have 1,000 points. So, oh, I have achieved something, right? I have become productive and I'm doing something. So it gave me a purpose in that brief moment of time. So the whole point is we are confusing that 24 connectivity for productivity. The third thing is we are
Absolutely.
confusing armchair activism for civic engagement. We're sitting, tweeting nonstop, and we are thinking that if we are, we have this God superiority complex. We are getting this God superiority complex saying that, hey, I am this person who is making a positive change in the world. Let me engage in some more tweeting and Instagramming and just calling out bullshit as I see it. But what you are doing is that is not necessarily converting into true civic engagement. So we there are a lot of, so these three confusions, if we try to understand what is happening and why we are behaving the way we are, we will be able to appreciate and try to make amends accordingly, and try to see if our online life truly
I
reflects
would rather
what we
say
are
that
doing
it is
offline.
not happening organically. It is not there is the device is made in such a way that it creates sort of a dopamine creation. You begin to feel positive, begin to feel good that so many people are appreciating, and if you don't see it, then you feel lost. So that is the kind of world that it takes you into, an illusionary world where
Exactly.
you feel that you're surrounded by people, you are appreciated by people, what you are saying is really heard by people.
Yeah. The, and
Very
all these
often
behaviors.
Facebook. People don't even have the patience to read the whole message, and they may put like or love, and actually you have put something very sad over there, and they are not responding to the message because they have seen some one or two words and they are responding to it. That is a sadness, or to the extent of inattentiveness or lack of attention that people have. The span of attention is reduced so much that people generally assume, okay, if somebody has shared something in Facebook, it has to be positive, so put a thumbs up.
Exactly.
So that is happening.
Exactly, and that is so. I remember very distinctly. I am a copywriter, so I write copy for any brands or anything. And I remember how the rules for writing copy, effective copy, has changed over the last few years. Earlier, for a brand description, you were given 500 words. I believe. Okay, let me try to see. I think Girija Ji is a little frozen here, but I hope. Okay, so let me try to see. Welcome here and okay. Okay, so earlier the whole point was, for a brand description, I was given 500 words. Now, in the past 2 or 3 years, what has happened is the brand description has gone down from 500 to 150. Now, these days in 2022, they're saying that only write a brand description of 100 words because nobody is reading after the first few words anyway. So that is how inattentive our brains have become because we want to quickly move on to the next best thing that is happening. So, yeah. So, yeah, that's
So the network is a little unstable here. So
okay.
in case something like that happens, you continue. You know
Okay.
exactly what you need to say. So I'm
Okay.
just saying, ki don't wait for me. Just
Okay.
continue. Yes, people are there online, and so let's not do that. Yes,
Okay. Sure.
right. Yeah.
So if we see our physical, even when we are watching our cell phone, right? So right now it's on airplane mode, of course, but when I am looking at my phone right now, I am closed in and I look like I'm inconsiderate to anything that is happening around me. When I'm
Yeah.
looking, for example, when I'm looking at nature, when I'm taking a hike or a walk, I am looking up and above, and I am actually physically open and receptive. So, the more we are physically into our phones, the
Absolutely.
more literally and physically we become closed and inconsiderate. So, I want you to consider your own
Yes.
online and physical behaviors around tech before you indulge in these behaviors.
Absolutely. Yeah. You must have seen that Amy Cudley's presentation where she
Yeah,
talks about people who, with open body language, how when you do like this or when you stand like this, there are positive hormones created, and then you perform better, whether it is in an interview, and you create that impression to the people in front of you without your awareness that you are very positive, and the results turn out to be good. So she has says
exactly.
the simple tip to the poorest person is teach them correct body language. Let them stand straight. Let them stand with open chest and let them stand like this every day morning for 10 minutes. And that makes a huge difference. And what are we doing? All the time cringing and looking into the phone and the laptop like this. So you're so right. So that is what is happening.
Exactly. Exactly. And the way we are living, learning, and loving has also drastically changed in the last 15 years. If we can understand the way we are living, the way we are taking revenge online, the way we are stealing other people's work or literally money, the way we are loving. I remember very clearly plentyoffish.com was the one of the very first pioneering dating sites that had come out in 2015. I believe there was a murder that happened when a girl was lured into a guy's hotel room, and there he had this urge to just sniff the life out of her, and it was just after 3 hours of meeting her. So the way we are loving, the way we are dating, I have attended 3 weddings in the past 1 year.
Yeah.
All of them got hitched on Hinge, the
Online.
Hinge app. online app Hinge. So the way we are loving Match.com, there's Grinder for gay people, there is Tinder, there is Bumble for women who want to make the first move. There's so many things that are happening online, and even
That
learning,
is
right?
that is become so famous, this Bumble, because of this girl, right, who was killed recently in
Exactly,
India.
exactly.
Yeah. So
And unfortunately, the same gentleman has picked up multiple people on the same app, using
absolutely.
multiple,
So 20 girls he has dated or he has
exactly.
signed up with. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly. On the
So
worst case scenario, this small catfishing scam has blown up into a violent murder. It is so sad. You might be catfished. Somebody might be, approaching you with saying that they are something that they are not. And it'll be just so sad, to see that come out, as a violent person on the other end. And Yes, so here, the teens, the way they are living and learning has changed. They are saying that in a few years, those of us who are working in the edtech revolution field, they are seeing that college might become irrelevant very soon, because all these self-made billionaires and all these people have not attended college, and kids are seeing this. They want to become as famous and as a big a
absolutely.
celebrity, as big a celebrity as these
Very
billionaires.
true.
Yeah, so they're like, quickly they want to make a cake, they'll quickly flip on YouTube and like quickly try to make a cake. They just want to, they're like living like how they want to live. They don't want to, they're not thinking about the bigger picture of a holistic education and everything. And of course, our education system also has to change, but the way we are living, learning, and loving is drastically changing in the last 15 years. And of course, tech is here to stay. Tech is making this conversation possible
Absolutely.
between you and me. We are hundreds of miles away from each other, but we are having this conversation, and people who are thousands and thousands of miles away, we are all connected here
Right.
in a nice bubble, thought bubble,
Yes,
where we can exchange ideas. They are
absolutely.
commenting, people are commenting, showing their democratic right of thought here, right? So
Yes.
that's how they are thought.
Even
Yeah,
huge deals, negotiations, they take place online, right? Organizations are making their strategies online, and they go, there is diversification taking place. All these things are now planned, negotiated, implemented online. So much of 83% of business is goes online. That is how
exactly,
much it is. So when that is happening, where our digital device habits have changed, one is at the workplace and the other is on the personal front.
exactly.
Workplace requirement is something else,
Yeah,
right? And then we do not have a control over it, and then it seamlessly ends into, also merges into our personal habits. So at workplace there are people who are spending 3 4 hours on the social media without realizing they are spending so many hours. While they are watching an email, they get a notification from Facebook, they go to Facebook or they are lost there for 2 3 hours.
exactly. The rabbit hole of social media. Yeah, exactly. So I think so I'll just continue here. The thing that is happening here is we are not able to, we are living on that. Yeah.
Yes,
So hours and
the,
hours of productivity loss that you're talking about, right? The
exactly.
problem. So there are stats that say that 96% of device owners at least sign into YouTube once a day. So that is still not giving us a full picture of how many hours and minutes of that person's is gone by
Every
just, exactly. So, we are not able to understand how many hours and minutes of that
yes,
productivity loss is happening of us engaging on a platform that we don't necessarily have to be in the first place. So,
absolutely. So we log into some site, or we are just scouring over and surfing the internet, and it seems to be happening without our realizing it. What are we getting involved in? We get involved in so many things, and then we forget actually where we should be at that point of time. And then we get lost.
exactly.
So our digital device habits are being controlled by that notification that is coming up.
Exactly. Exactly.
That is nice. The
There,
word of the year isn't a word. Please
this was
elaborate.
back this was back in 2015 for the first time when we actually engaged in social media in a way that even the dictionary had to say that the word of the year is not a word, it is an emoji, which is the laughing, crying. They're laughing so hard that, this was the word of the year. So
Absolutely.
this
Lol.
stems from a, yeah, so that is how our world has changed. And just like, remember 2007, I got my first iPhone, my first smartphone in my hands, to now just
Mm.
15 years later, how ubiquitous our life is online. We are always there online, available for everybody. And there is a cost to that we have to talk about, that we are going to talk about. What happens when we are consistently online, without giving ourselves a break. So here,
Absolutely.
so yes, so here I just
What
want
is
to
that?
quickly, so this one is, I just wanted to show you how the internet baby has grown. And this is something that I will share with you, a few items. So in 2010, how our life was. Okay, so how we are getting attached to technology was one of the, and paying a price. So way back when in 2010, these kind of articles started coming up, that there was something that was happening to us. There was something that is making us stay online more than ever. And last week we talked about, in 2011, we saw our first meme ever. And since
Yeah.
then, people have started using technology to cope with happiness or sadness. For
Sadness.
everything, there is a meme now,
Yes.
right? So, how 2012 things have started, okay. So, here, anxiety UK. 45% of people felt worried or uncomfortable as a result of not being able to access social networks or email. And that is when nomophobia, the fear of
Yes.
not having the phone, first came in. So, if you see just the trends of, how our physical
Carries in
world.
your watch.
Yes, yes. So
Even when you're working out, you've got to watch the messages. You need to see what is happening. So that is why you have that app on the app. You have mail
exactly.
on the go. You have WhatsApp on the go. Everything is there, coming there.
Exactly. And the first time we ever talked in terms of digital, workspace, where flexible work was allowed, a lot of people started working from home more and more. And that is when the evolution of four different kinds of workers emerged. So the integrators, the separators, the fusion lovers, the cyclers, so many, and what has happened is, there was a hashtag that was trending in 2016 on Instagram called the after sex selfie. So this was
Oh,
a
okay.
not safe for work selfie that people were posting, boasting about how they had such a good night the night before, and this is my face, or this is my situation right now after having such a good time. So there were, that is when we started thinning the boundary between oversharing and
Yes.
just using internet for just the bare essentials, right? Like, we need any
Absolutely.
information, we need to go from place to place. We started thinning the line between that and began oversharing at an alarming rate. So
Absolutely.
so there is a cost to all this associated, and this, and 2017, so let me see. Yeah, so Slack. Okay, one second, I just wanted to highlight some of the
Earlier
key.
when we were children, we were
Yes.
told that whenever you talk, teachers used to say, either you think of inform, entertain, or educate, or
Yes.
inspire. Four things.
Yeah.
So even when I post in the Facebook also,
Yeah.
I'll think, okay, if I may be having a beautiful dinner, but
Yeah.
is it going to educate, inspire, inform, entertain anyone? No. So
None
why
of the
should I
above.
post it? If I'm posting about some Bharat Ratna award winner, how she's working in a small village in Bihar and how she has uplifted the village, then maybe people in the village will consider her as a role model and they'll begin to think and work like her. So that could be probably inspiring. I,
Exactly.
it doesn't matter that I post, and there are some posts where maybe 200 people have read and appreciated, and there are posts where two people have only seen it. But my intention is clear to me.
Exactly.
But
Exactly.
even that is not there because people just do it mindlessly. I wore a new dress, I've got to post it. Okay, I've got a then I've got to post it. But the person who may be seeing it may not have had a meal at all that day. And then they say, oh, then how can he access Facebook? It's not a big deal. He already has something, and by resale value is very poor. There are so many people who lost jobs and they had huge Apple cell phones, Apple laptop at home.
Yeah.
This
Yeah.
happened during the pandemic, and they
See.
were saying, what do I sell so that it will have resale value? How can I buy? This was the thing. Like if they had gold at home, that is what they would give them resale, but nothing else.
Yeah.
All the other things have,
Yeah.
the value has depreciated. Nobody thought about that. So people spend, four requirements for an iPad. There has to be an iPad, there has to be a, laptop, and then there has to be at least two cell phones. That's how people are working. So when this pandemic happened, a lot of people who were middle class and above, many
Yeah.
of them lost jobs, and for first 2 months they had the money. Later on
Yeah.
they didn't have,
Yeah.
and they went through this with very close people. They shared it.
Yeah. 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 See,
And meanwhile,
and that is
people
the
are still going
useful.
the noodle out
Yeah.
there.
See, and that is the thing, right? See, you are thinking when you are posting anything, you are having these, do they fall into the category of inspiring, educating, informing? Is it anything? Before you're posting, you're retweeting anything, if you're sharing anything, um, is
Yeah.
this falling under a conspiracy theory? Is this fake news? Is this, you are deliberating so much. But the only other people who are deliberating as much are the people who are swindling people off of their hard earned money on the internet. They are the ones who are more intentional than that teenager or that adult who's posting all these pictures of themselves to show to the world. The people, they are called grifters. So if grifters online, what they do is,
Yes.
grifters are the ones who are trying to swindle you off of your hard earned income. They are the ones who are intentional. The other people who are intentional are the influencers who want to get money or goods from the brands to try to make you buy those things so that they can keep getting all these freebies that they are. So there is an intentionality on the internet, but all those people who want to scam you, that is what we have to understand. Very little on the internet is of much value. And they say, literally, this video that we are engaging in right now, in 1 hour this will become a dinosaur, because it so much of content has come up in the last 1 hour just on YouTube, that
Yes.
our content will become a dinosaur. So that is the
Absolutely.
amount of junk we are generating. So you
Correct.
have to
We are
literally,
lost.
yeah, we are
We are
sifting
lost.
through what is important.
We
And
are
as you
thinking we are
said,
doing it live, but then by the time it is published, then it's already out of date.
exactly, exactly. And internet minute. So in 2019, I'll just show you this. That reminds me of this thing here.
There are very
29.
good points that some of the viewers have put in. One is because of the our digital device habits. We don't go outdoors, so we are missing out on vitamin D. Then accidents happen because of the road situation. We are not focusing. So people are engaging in conversation with us. Nice comments are coming in. So
Exactly,
yes,
exactly. Thank,
yes,
thank you.
yes.
I last week also there were some pretty good points
Yes, I
that
saw
I
you
read.
had responded to them.
Yeah.
I request the viewers to go back and see Rachana's response she has posted for the people who have
Thank you, thank you,
commented. Thank you so much.
thank
Yes.
you, thank you, thank you, guys.
So
So
continue,
here,
Rachana.
thank you. So here, this is what happens in a minute. This is 2019. This is how we were spend. This is how internet was on. So 101.4 million swipes on Tinder was happening under 60 seconds. Can you imagine, if you are looking for a life partner, if you are looking for a life partner online, how many microseconds will you take before you either swipe left? I don't like his face. I don't like her, I don't like her
Smile,
bio.
yeah.
You're not even willing to give a chance for the different kinds of opportunities that you are getting. So, and 87,500 people are tweeting under 60 seconds. Look at the number of apps that are getting downloaded on a few platforms like Google and Apple. Like, so a lot of things are happening on the internet, and it is using our discretionary thought, which is the only democratic thought that we have, to decipher between the good and the bad, that we can make a judgment call, whether this thing is useful for us or not. So yeah, I mean, yeah, just wanted to share that. And
Very, very useful information.
thank you. So
What you shared, yeah.
yeah, I can go on about the little bit of the cost of what it is doing to the
It's
adults.
very important. Yes, do address that. What is the cost to human relationships, to our productivity, to the office, to our health? So many things you can address, right?
Thank you. So yes, so here, teenagers also, there is a cost. To children, there is a cost. What is happening when we engage excessively? So I'm not saying, again, technology is here to stay. We're not vilifying technology. We want it to stay, and we want it to enhance the quality of those of us
So
around us and ourselves. So, okay, I'm going to continue. Okay. Okay, so here the cost is, the first thing is, when you were talking the burnout that is happening, right? So
mm,
what is happening is, when we are constantly online, it feels like, because we are online, we are on Twitter, when we see a comment, we want to add value. We want to look like I have something, some input to give.
yeah,
I have something that can be of value to others, so we are immediately like tweeting, and that is, we are assuming that is increasing our social currency. But what is happening is, in the process of coming up with a
yeah.
nice answer or something, we are spending hours on trying to research and like give the best comeback answer to a person who is bullying another person, or a person who is sharing something, we want to add to that. We're doing a lot of things that is causing us a lot of stress. And when you said that we are not able to balance work and life, there's a lot of cost switching that is involved. The brain, even though we want to think that
The network.
it is capable of multitasking, it is a myth. Multitasking is really a myth, and there are so many different researches that have been done on it, that our brain can only process one thing at a time. Of course, I'm not talking about having a conversation with your sister and doing laundry or something like that, which does not require you to put your 100% brain into it. We are not talking about those small things. We are talking about when we are right in the middle of writing an important reply to our boss, we are casually, something happens to the phone and it just sends out a
Destroyed.
notification, and then you are like, immediately you want to attend to it. So it is not capable of doing that kind of multitasking. So there is a real cost to task switching, and we have to understand that. um,
Yeah.
I, I I want to show you something, which is, we are not privy to what the cost is, unless we know what big tech companies know about their own folks and why it must be taken seriously. So if you see, I'll just post this link on the YouTube and pin
That.
it as well. But the thing is, let me show you. There is something that is okay. Okay. So the biggest thing is the data that is being collected by us. Even I tell all my friends, I tell anybody and everybody who listens, that if you are writing something on Facebook or any other social media apps, it belongs to them. It is not.
Not
It does
ours.
not
Yeah.
belong to you
Yeah.
anymore. They can
Yeah.
use it in any way they
Anywhere.
want. That is the underlying, thing that you are
Yeah.
signing off.
Understanding. You have signed off for that.
Exactly. So I request you to create a blog. I will request you to create your own site, if it is, and creating a blog or a site is not at all. From the past 20 years, we have been blogging, literally.
Yes.
So it is, the world has been blogging, and it is still very much one of the primary source. So if you want to be in the top net worth, earning the top monies, 2022, there was a stat. If you are an independent creator, individual contributor, if you are an independent creator, you can be assured that you can be the top 1%. Of course, I'm not saying that blogging for 3 months and you want to be rich like a
I know.
mega billionaire or anything,
Absolutely.
right? You
Yeah.
have to show your work and
It
everything.
has to be persistent. Like any work, you have to be persistent, you have to be consistent. Then only it will
Exactly.
happen. Yes. Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So here, the first
But
cost
one thing,
is,
Rachana, what I notice is like earlier, when people
yes,
are engaging in a conversation,
yes,
when you're talking, instead of listening to what is your intent, what is your feeling, what do you want to say, what is said and what is not said, and always thinking of how am I going to respond, how am I going to reply. So there is no active listening or empathic listening.
exactly.
Now the same thing is happening when people are reading
Yeah,
something. Their thought is, what am I going to write here? How am I going to make a mark?
yeah,
But what this person is actually saying, they're not into it. Whether it's tweet, whether it's Facebook. So that habit in real life has moved on to here, and we don't realize that this is here in black and white and permanently there to stay.
exactly,
We do not
exactly.
realize. So there, that is the habit. We are
So one of the things that jumps out of what Girijaji just said is, um, there is, I remember clearly when I was 2011, I was working in downtown Atlanta. I remember one of our, my boss, we were going to hire somebody for our team. And, something that you said about internet having the memory of an elephant, right? Once you put it out there is no going back. And I remember so clearly that the guy who came for an interview, he looked like he was not that old. Like I could sense like he was not even in his mid 20s or whatever. And then, he was like, I have this experience, I have that, I have this and that. And 8 years, he says he has this experience on his resume and everything. And I remember, I was like, wow, okay, maybe he's 30 years old. I can't like figure out how old he is and everything. And then I just went on Facebook. At that time, I had a Facebook account. I did not know any better. I went on my Facebook account and I searched for his name. The first thing that popped out is 2000. This was 2011. And the first
right.
thing that popped out was he had just graduated from the University of Texas A&M.
How is it
And
possible? Then he gathered so much experience, all picked up
eight
from the
years.
internet.
8 years of experience. Excuse me, he had just graduated 2 years ago. Sorry. So then 2 years, and then he's saying that he has a 6-year experience. And I was like, dude, your entire life is literally on Facebook.
Yeah.
All those graduation pictures, all those party pictures and everything. So it was just, internet has a memory of an elephant. And that's what I tell the teenagers who use technology 24/7, because that is their life. That is where all their life is. And of course, we have to come middle ground to be able to help them understand the cost of what they are doing online continuously. But yeah, that's what reminded me when you said that internet has the memory of an elephant, and we cannot take that lightly. Um,
Absolutely.
so
Absolutely. So how do we
yes,
create what you had mentioned to me that we can create tech harmony? So what do you mean by that?
okay. So tech harmony. Okay, so let's do this. I'll just go through some points. So I can divide this into children, teenagers, and family or adult or a working adult and all that. So tech harmony. So is something that will that comes with an understanding that tech is here to stay. How can I
Yes.
use it to enhance my productivity and potential rather
Wow.
than it sucking me into its rabbit holes of the internet? So tech harmony begins with, so children, for children, right? There is this AAP. Okay, so let me share a thing here. The first thing is parents have to understand that there are specific guidelines by the American Academy of Pediatrics, which says avoid digital media for toddlers younger than 18 to 24, other than for video chatting once in a while. For children 18 to 24 months, watch digital media with them because they learn from watching and talking with you. It is not a passive babysitter that we can just hand off. It is something that you sit along with them to engage with them and help them understand what they are seeing, if it
Exactly.
is cartoon images or anything like that, right? So tech harmony can be achieved if we can all slow down. Because the thing is, so right now, Girija ji, there are about 70,000 hours of YouTube content. If we just don't go to the bathroom, never take a break, never stop to eat, never stop to sleep, it will take us 70,000 years to finish everything that's on YouTube. And then even by the time you have caught up, there is probably
It's gone.
as much content there. So
That's what just now somebody has posted. See, fast food, fast connect, equally fast disconnect. So similarly, fast
exactly,
content
exactly.
upload also. Yes. And it can be
Exactly.
trash,
So
it can be something useful, but everything is up there.
exactly. Yeah, see, the fast disconnect. I have to talk about this, Juliana. I have to, Julie, I have to talk about this because, okay, so first let's finish the tech thing. I'm just going to tell you how superficial our social currency has become. Quickly check WhatsApp, give 10 thumbs ups. I've caught up on everything. Let's move on, right? Like, so that is how we have become. But okay, so tech harmony. So let's talk about children first, and then let's talk about how whenever we see children or teenagers with any kind of cell phones in their hand, we immediately jump to the conclusion, oh, they must not be using their the internet, or they must be on their social media wasting their time, or they're probably playing a stupid silly game. That is not always true. We cannot just take away the phone, we cannot just shut off the Wi-Fi, we cannot just say that, hey, all use is bad. That is not true with teenagers, especially because literally, except for sleeping, and they are also sleeping with music on, most of them. So
Yes.
everything that they are doing is online. They
Yeah.
not necessarily they are off task if they are on the internet, because they are probably, my son practices his vocal lessons. He has to make sure he has that that tuner thing
Tampura, yeah.
dialed. Yeah, tanpura, if it is
Tampura disc.
Carnatic.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly, if it's Carnatic music. So
Yeah.
there are these. So these are these addendums that they want in their life, that they are enhancing the quality of their lives using tech. So
Correct.
understanding where our children are and trying to come midway, because these children are digital natives. They are already using the tech in a far more superior way than us. So we have to understand that not all tech is bad, especially when children are doing it. They just don't understand, if children are not doing something, it is because they just simply don't know the right or the wrong. Most often than not, they just haven't been told that all these adult content that they see on the internet are all
Yes,
these
there are, for
unrealistic.
example,
Yes.
so there are, like NLP coded meditation music that
Yes.
children play and they go to sleep. It definitely gives them very deep sleep, and the way they feel fresh early in the morning. My grandchildren, for them, I
Yeah.
give them. They
Yeah.
put it and they use and they sleep very well, and they get up in the morning and they are so refreshed. Like, definitely, they feel that they remember better the details that they have studied. So
Exactly.
it definitely helps. So there are things that help, but there are things that don't help.
Exactly. See, the thing that you were talking about, the internet having the memory of an elephant, that is the most important thing that we must educate our children with, because
You said,
reputation matters. Yes. So reputation matters when it comes to the internet. So just like there are, your grandchildren are playing white noise or something that is soothing enough for them to, just
right.
enhance the quality of the, their sleep. And there are, of course, studies. It's not just something that you have pulled out of thin air. To there is research that is being done on that, right? So all those things are great. Just like how we are telling them that technology can be used for these, we also should be telling them that unrealistic standards of beauty exist in adult content. Reputation matters because internet has the memory of an elephant. You might be teasing them or something on the internet which is something you think is a small infraction, right? Like a small thing from your side, but it can quickly blow up into a situation that is totally not manageable. Cyberbullying is real. You can, if you see something, you have to say something, right? So
Yes.
empower around children and teenagers. Use conversations, use your vocabulary in a way that empowers them and looks like you're not judging them. It doesn't look like you're judging them. So use your words.
Absolutely.
What I did with my children is I also have a sample of the handwritten contract that we wrote for each other, about how we are going to use tech ethically. Because children,
Yes.
they don't, when you're giving a powerful device like a cell phone, they have to be taught about what is right and what is wrong.
Exactly.
So there are ethical implications. If I make a robot, if I teach my children to teach in robotics to build something of a monster without helping them understand the ethical implications of what they are creating,
Yes.
it's going to be a disaster for humanity, right? So teaching them digital literacy while handing them a machine is critical. And helping them understand that sleep is the only antidote that we have, that nature has given us. If you're not sleeping 8 to 10 hours as a teenager, and it is a reality, unfortunately, nature's reality, that melatonin, the sleep hormone, kicks in very, very late for teenagers. So please understand that as parents, and try to come midway. Okay, you're not able to sleep until 11:30, but you will have to do a few things before you'll have to turn on the light, the blue light that is emitting from your phones is not allowing melatonin to generate even for longer time. So you have to educate them so that they feel empowered with
Yeah.
their devices and not worried. um, so so
Right.
so so for adults, we can think of it like this. We can expand on it based on how what you want me to explain a little bit more. For adults, please understand that there is to manage our attention in this attention economy. How is social media making all that money? Because humanity's attention is on it right now. Okay, human beings
Correct.
we are hopelessly sucked into that, and their bottom line is getting affected, because and they are making the money because attention is on them. I want you to think as a contributor to humanity. And how can you do that is by understanding. So how we are living online, our online behaviors are showing that we all plan to live forever, when the reality is we have a finite life. We are like,
Absolutely.
if you they
Nobody is
say
immortal.
exactly. And that, unfortunately, but the way we are spending time, social media, 4.5 hours, the stat that you were mentioning. If Imagine I go to the doctor and the doctor tells me I have 30 days to live. What will
Yes.
I be doing with my time? I want you to walk
Right.
back like that, to stop wasting away the precious one resource that we have to engage. I want you to unplug often so that you can reset your priorities for yourself. There is, if I
Right.
have to go into this clinically, uh, there is something called it's called the default mode network. Default mode network in the brain is where
Yes.
you actually slow down so much that the brain is like making connections from the past to now, your experiences, and figuring out things for the future, like how you can live a better
Yes.
quality
That is
life.
so vital, right? That is so
Exactly.
vital. Yeah.
Exactly.
Absolutely. That's how
And
we learn from our experiences.
Exactly. But if you are consuming all day, where is that chance for the brain to engage into the default mode network of like trying to connect all the dots?
Yes.
Um, so the idea is micro checking is bad.
Mhm.
I check my email. I used to be that inbox zero hero. I have to
Yeah.
get every email the minute it's sent, and the reality is
Yeah.
email
Even I
is
used to.
checked.
Now I've stopped.
Exactly. We are all, see, that is what gives us a purpose, right? We are like, oh, I've cleaned out my inbox and made it so pristine. And now I
Yes,
am,
exactly.
that gave me a sense of purpose because in the last 1 hour, what did I do? I can't account for anything, but I can account for all the 20 emails I read and cleared out. So that gives me something measurable. And that is the main problem with addiction. If it is a measurable goal, if it is something like a video game, if it is something like clearing out my inbox, all
Right.
those things are designed in a way. So all the notifications, check. Oh, I'm done.
I've done all this. Yes.
Exactly.
The
And that
false
is
sense of achievement it gives you.
exactly false sense of achievement. I like that word. Exactly. That's what is happening. So here, the micro checking that we are doing, email, I answer in the morning, I answer in the evening. Uh, Cell phone, I check it in 4 pockets. So I used to do that every top of the hour, like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. Now I have batches. So batch your
Yeah.
messages so that,
Yes.
but I also request. So I'm not very good at that. Unfortunately, I'm trying to get better at it by setting expectations that I am not available. So yesterday night I
Yeah.
sent a message to 4 of my friends and I said, I will not be able to check until noon today. So
Yes.
that people are not waiting desperately to hear back from you. So please
Absolutely.
set expectations,
To
right?
put them also at ease, and we are also at ease.
Exactly. So that you're not in a
Absolutely.
pressure to engage immediately.
Absolutely. Yes.
Exactly.
So,
So,
so we
so
know that we can focus on this task, and somebody else, you don't have to feel that guilt that you are not able to focus on this task.
exactly. And you are not under any pressure to like be there online continuously checking for messages and responding. The next thing is multitasking is frying our brains. So that is the thing that we were talking earlier.
That's absolutely true. Nobody will just drop a message and expect that you have to immediately take action if it is so
Exactly.
urgent.
Exactly.
Because the world is available at the fingertip and not much cost is also involved. You can even call free. So why
Exactly.
will a person not call you if it is so urgent? So just don't bother.
You hit the nail on the head. That is exactly what I think of it as. A message is for me, if somebody says, hey, I, I want to be, doing this, doing that, and everything, please help me. If you are not invested enough, why will you leave me a passive message
Yes,
that I can get to at any point of time? So show your urgency if you
absolutely.
really mean it, like how you have it, right? And also remember that somebody else's emergency cannot be our problem, right? So it
Exactly.
cannot be
Yes.
that I am, you
Available for
haven't planned
everybody.
enough, you haven't
Yes,
planned enough. So now it is time for me to jump into action. So
exactly.
embrace JOMO. So FOMO is something which is like fear of missing out. But I request and I challenge all of us to say joy of missing out. Unbusy yourself.
The joy of
Thank
missing out. That is super.
joy of missing out has been a trend in 2022 for me because 2022 was going to be my year of unbusyness because
Okay.
I was really wanting to take stock of my life. Where is it really? Is it
Yeah.
where I want it to be? Right?
Mhm.
So I challenge you to indulge in joy of missing out. Thank goodness I've not been invited to that party. I don't have to spend 4 hours
There,
not
exactly.
being myself, right? I'm happy. No,
Yes,
I'm happy for all my friends who invite me to parties, but I'm also happy if people are being selective and doing their own things. Good for them, more power, right? So I'm
exactly.
asking you to embrace that joy of missing out and
Yes.
just thrive in the silent pockets you get, because default mode network is when the prefrontal cortex, that is the most superior part of the brain at the front here
Which
where
takes
Ajna
your
chakra and all
decisions.
those, yeah,
Yeah.
all those things, they're engaged in deep contemplative thoughts. It is when you are not engaging in the limbic brain system of like flight or fight and like jumping from one task to the
Another.
other, multitasking like a crazy,
The prefrontal cortex helps you to make decisions, proper logical decisions. And
Exactly.
every kind of addiction is supposed to damage those kind of nerve cells in the uh, precortex. So it
Exactly.
could be alcohol, it could be drugs, it could be digital device, but
Yeah.
that is affecting the prefrontal cortex.
It is hijacking our response system. So it is not necessarily damaging, it is actually rewiring in a way that only you're
Hijack.
immediately like, what is my response? Somebody said, how dare he tags everybody and says this to me on Twitter? Immediately it'll be hijacked, and like I'm, my limbic system, my caveman like mentality. I will jump into that thing and like,
Yes.
how dare you say that? Who are you to judge me? Blah blah blah. Relax, take that offline, think about it. Does it, okay, literally in 10 days you would not even remember any of that conversation that you ever had. What's the point?
Absolutely.
Right? So
What's the point?
engaging PFC, like the prefrontal cortex, deeply needs you to shut off all the stimuli. If I really want to get to that point of talking about meditation and how to silence ourselves, I highly recommend those of you who are in the spiritual path to revisit the Dhyana Yoga, the yoga of meditation in chapter 6. I cannot tell you how relevant it is in this tech disruption world that we are in right now. The Dhyana Yoga, which talks about, I can actually point out all the chap.
What is going to happen. It
Yes.
was there and they knew it, and so that has been given, like, yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I'm just thinking about all the small anecdotes that come out of that and says, master your mind. That is the only thing that matters here, right? And it is said in such a beautiful way. I mean, all those verses, all the shlokas in chapter 6 Dhyana Yoga are uh, really the true antidote for how we are living a busy life on this planet. Yeah, it
Exactly.
is just, yeah. So if you really want to question yourself, I want you to question, like, is technology really enhancing my potential and productivity, or am I just depreciating the time and the precious brain resources I have? So that is the question that we have to ask ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So we were talking about how is it important for us to control our screen addiction. So keep, regular timings when you will do it. Not all the time keep on to the screen for notification. Probably if we can, you can just switch off the notifications. It's not
Yeah.
necessary that I don't have any notification on. I have decided that when I want to, I will. So I know what particular time in a day I will look at all the mails, and one time
Exactly.
I will look at all the WhatsApp. Another time is when I will look at the YouTube. So I know every 4 hours, one particular media, I'll just go there and do
Yeah.
it. That's it.
Yeah.
So I am there in all the media, though, but this is what I've
Yeah.
done. And every 4 hours, half an hour for each particular thing. Even then, I see that at least 2 hours goes in a day.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. And but that is all your choice, right? See,
Exactly.
it is
So
very,
there may be days when I go and I don't find anything worthwhile, and they say, okay, fine, I don't want to be now on Facebook. I didn't find anything worthwhile. I just congratulate a few people and come off. There may
yeah,
be a day when there is a post which evokes my attention and I want to write on it, and then I also write a post there, right?
exactly.
So I may spend half an hour or less, but not more than half an hour. So I'm very mindful about that.
Yeah, 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 exactly. See, and you are saying that, see, when you have that choice, so how, so right off the bat, right, when you're saying this, it reminds me of this. How do you for yourself decide whether technology is your master or you are the master of technology? It is very
Exactly.
simple. It is very simple.
No, you
And
don't
this,
become powerless in front of technology. It is not as though that is leading our lives by the nose, right?
exactly, exactly. And you can just qualify it in 4 C's. So there are 4 C's. The first thing, obviously, the bonus C is the choice of you becoming intentional about it. But
Absolutely.
creativity. Are you engaging in creativity, creating content that is meaningful, impactful, and important for the world? Are you using your competencies online? Are you using your positive traits, or are you using your negative bitchy traits?
Absolutely.
Are you using it to connect, to your grandmother who is 8,000 miles away, who just doesn't care for anything but your attention? Are you
Yeah.
using it to collaborate and uplift people in your wake? Are you
Yes.
using it to collaborate? So you have some strengths, I have some strengths. We can collaborate and bring something to the forefront so that other people can benefit out of it, right? So
Absolutely.
these four C's, if we can try to understand, and of course the bonus C that you have given me, the choice to become intentional about our use, right?
Absolutely.
So creativity, competency, connection, collaboration, and choice. So
Yes.
if I'm doing all these
Right.
things, and I am the boss, not technology, right? So it is. I just want to show something here.
Yes.
There is an amazing book. It is almost my Bible, The Art of War, by the. Excuse me, no. I'm sorry. The War of Art.
Mm.
So the War of Art. It is about creativity, about just showcasing what you have for the world and everything. It's by Stephen Pressfield. The
Okay.
War of Art.
Right.
So there he has a chapter where he says this, which has just stayed with me. And I had read this book before I understood what technology addiction was, right? He says in that chapter, and of course, then he turned this into a book, I think, on Turning Pro is now his new book or something. There is no mystery to turning pro. It is a decision. As you said, it is a choice, Girjaji, brought about by an act of will. Turning pro changes what
It's in
time.
our life, right?
Yeah. Turning pro changes what time we go to bed, what time we get up. It changes how we organize our day. It
Yes.
changes what we read and what we feed our bodies. The
Absolutely.
amateur tweets, the pro works. Just this sentence, I'm challenging you to
Right.
think about this. Are
Right.
you a tweeter or are you a worker? Are you a creator? What are
Exactly.
you? I want you to think for yourself. And this, Stephen Pressfield is amazing. I mean, his fiction and non-fiction, all of them are great. But this book, The War of Art,
Right.
is, yeah, it's just,
So
I
it
mean,
is very inspiring. I'll read it.
yeah, it's amazing. So yeah, we have we've talked about the you have any specific questions, I'll be able to
Yeah,
but
there
I
is another question, some
yeah,
remark here. Less involvement in other people's words, less reaction after often saves a lot of unwanted stress, which is a very, very powerful statement because what other people do or what other people think, actually, we are nobody to influence them all the time. Why do
exactly,
we have to? Let people learn from their choices, let people learn from their experiences, and nobody is a fool in this world. So we
exactly,
are not here to, uh, do that all the time, but we share our feelings, what we feel, and people want to take it, let them take it, otherwise not get offended by that.
Ex-
That is when we begin to take it personally, then there are war of words over there.
exactly.
Yes.
See, people broadcast their lives, it's their personal choice,
Yes.
some people are also engaging in sharenting, which has also come up in a very big way. They are also sharing the pictures, images of their infant children, uh, children who have
Yes.
just been born like
Born.
3 minutes ago. Their photos unfortunately are out there on the, for the world to see and judge
Yes.
the parents and everything,
Out on
causing
the
additional
internet, and
stress.
we it could be so dangerous and people don't realize it.
Exactly. And see, even if we don't want to get into people's business, people are throwing their business out at us once we get online. Unfortunately, that is the state of affairs right now that we are in. But it
That's
all
very
comes down to what do you want out of life rather than what is
true.
being thrown at you, right? So I'll just show this particular thing.
No,
So
that is the problem, Rachana. Like you said, what you want out of life, for many people, it is not clear. When you are setting out, if you do not know where exactly do you want to go, you may have very good winds, but the ship is not going to take you anywhere because you don't know which direction you want to go. What is the point of that wind that is there, right? You are not using it to fluff your sails and move in the right direction. I
I'm
can't
sorry.
hear you.
Yes, I'm
Yes.
sorry. I got into mute. So you can find your purpose only again if you engage
Yes.
deeply with your self nature. If you can try to understand how you want to get to where you want to get, right? So here, there is, of course, there are so many concepts, and I'm sure a lot of people might
Ikigai,
have
yeah.
heard of, yeah, ikigai, the Japanese concept of trying to pinpoint exactly where all these
Where
things collide.
merge.
Excuse me. Yeah, where all these things collide, your passion, your vocation, your what makes you jump out of bed every single day. I mean, this can be a conversation where we can talk about how to find out your passion and everything, and each one of us can actually figure out for themselves within
Absolutely.
1 or 2 hours what actually gives them joy. And if you're lucky enough, your vocation, what you do for fun, can become
It
your
merges
profession.
it. Yes.
Exactly, exactly.
Then you're
And
not working at all.
exactly, it
You
doesn't
don't
feel
feel
like
you're
work.
working. Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, see, the thing is here, getting into people's business is one thing. The other thing is, what is happening is, I read this article and I was just like a little sad and miffed about how we are spending. So this is a Times
But many of
article.
this I have not even heard of. You were showing something like Wicker.
Wicker and Discord. Yeah. So these are the places. So Discord and Reddit. So without that, I haven't seen a single Generation Z person ever exist. So Generation Z is those who are born after 1995.
This is called Vicar, is it?
Vicar is
Vicar.
yeah, it has been used for sexting and gossipy text, planning secret parties or score drugs without ever leaving a trace of their online history. And this is a child, a 24-year-old person from Mumbai. Okay, so this is the see. This is a beautiful article in Reddit. Reddit is good in a way that it has brought down many good revolutions. Discord is one place that you can engage privately if you want to collaborate with something, with some people, strangers or like people, like-minded people on the internet, without having to reveal a lot about you, your personal details, your phone number, and all those things. There are some really good platforms that you can use to engage. So Discord and because the problem is right now on Discord servers, if you are a female gamer, there is a lot of bullying and harassment being done. People throwing mean stuff at you, saying that go kill yourself. A woman has no place in the gaming world. Like there are some horrific things of cyberbullying that are happening on all these social media, gathering places. We need to be able to understand there is a behind the wheel of anonymity. If you are anonymous, you
That you
can
can never be caught.
exactly, you can say the meanest, darkest things to other people without any fear of repercussion. Like, will
Yes.
I ever say anything to you? Wow, Girija ji, you really look chunky in real life. Wow, I say that in your face. I can never be able. I mean, you're not.
Do that.
Yeah, I'm just making up
Yeah, I
this.
know. I understand the example.
Yeah, so
Absolutely.
can I say that in front of your face? But teenagers are saying horrific things
Yes.
to each other on the internet. And adults, if you see the comment section, it is
Yeah.
septic tank. It is so smelly, like you can't even like go visit.
Very
You
sad.
can't read through a few. Yeah, so
Not everybody will be able to look at it as okay. It is just doesn't. It definitely hurts many people, right?
exactly. And if
Yeah.
you see, so there is this another article, the okay. So there are problems, especially in countries where English is not the primary language. Social media is the people at social media who manage all these things are not able to decipher if cyberbullying is really happening,
It's happening.
because
Oh,
we have created our own dictionaries. So if
yes.
you see all these slurs, and if you see the word rapist is being spelled out like this, you're still giving some you're hurling abuses at another person, tagging them as a rapist or a killer or whatever, but you are engaging in this kind of a you're creating words like this. So it is becoming impossible for social medias to see. Look at this. So for female genitalia, they have some kind of words. So they have all these pseudonyms that people have created, and these are the online trolls that we are having to meet with. Even if we want to engage in good content, sometimes we are uh, So again, religious, homophobic, hurting, gay or lesbian sentiments, hurting religious sentiments. There's so many. Oops, sorry, I just clicked on the wrong thing. Da, da, da. Oops. Okay, let me try to open this. So we have created a lexicon of abuses online. It's again, it is up to us as parents to be able to tell our children to do the right thing. The right thing is
Absolutely.
always the most difficult thing, but
Yeah.
it is also
It is
the
a thing to do, absolutely. Even if it is a difficult thing to do, that is what finally they should do. Because ultimately, thinking that something is easy, because something is easy to do, you do it, then you're going to get into an endless problem from which it will be very difficult to extricate. So while doing it, it may be difficult, but they will not end up in a blind alley from which there is no point of return.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Um, so there are many books that talk about all these things. There is something, Irresistible is a book by Adam Alter. Irresistible by Adam Alter. It is Complicated by Dana Boyd, and she talks about the secret lives of all these teens who are networked 24/7.
Yeah.
And there is something by Jean Twenge. Jean Twenge is really amazing. She's an anthropologist who has been reading about how we have, as a generation of narcissists, being enabled by social media and our indulgence in our selfie culture and all that. She is amazing. So iGen is like why super connected kids are growing up to become less rebelliant and more tolerable, because they're just like, oh, just leave me on my device and you can do whatever you want because I get to do whatever I want, right? So there is no scope for discussion. There's no, like, we are not having a conversation.
Conversation, yes. Yeah.
No deep, meaningful debates that we can
Yeah, it is
enhance
not
our
even
understanding.
independent lives, it becomes isolated lives.
Exactly. Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Very well said.
I
Yeah.
live the way I want, you live the way you want. So there is no synchrony of thoughts or ideas or values. Nothing is there.
Exactly.
So, how
Exactly.
do you feel the sense of belonging with the other person?
Exactly. And see, again, this gentleman, this is also a great book, The Distracted Mind. He says there are four major repercussions of overuse of technology: increase in anxiety, decrease in the ability to attend and focus for extended periods of time, boredom, newfound ability to be unable to talk to anybody face to face. And that is really happening, right? Like having awkward conversations
Absolutely.
has become the norm now. Nobody knows how to, there is no small talk anymore. People are not able to engage in small talk. It's like always awkward, the silence,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
comes. So I want to talk a couple of minutes about boredom. When
Yes.
anybody, again, children, I see a lot of parents who say, "But what can I do? My kids say that they are bored," and I just say, "Oh, just leave me alone. Take this iPad or device and just like be on your way," right? And
Absolutely.
again, the
Yeah.
default mode network. You're not enabling the child to engage in long-term, complex problem
Introspection,
solving.
just sit, look at nature. You do nothing, but you're not actually doing nothing. There is so much happening here. There is
Exactly.
creativity building there. There is a lot of absorption of what is happening around. All that we are stopping by giving them this phone.
Exactly. And the speed at which the technology is moving through their eyeballs and everything, it is just flickering microseconds of images in a cartoon animated. Our brains, their little brains are not primed for that kind of speed. There is a lot more green in the world for a reason. Nature developed green for our mental health and for us to calm down, because
Mhm.
green is what the
Calming, very
brain
calming
thrives on.
energy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we can just understand all these things.
That's what is this world full of care? We don't have time to stand and stare. That we learned so many years back, and it is so true even today.
Yeah, exactly. See, there is, okay, let me show you what is happening here. So for myself, I did a handbook for handling social media's toxic addiction and managing device habits. And you can come up with your own strategies if you want. So my handbook is this: We are the master, not our devices, right? I have to be intentional about everything I'm telling myself around technology, because I don't want to be living a life of notifications and just living my real life on breaks. It should be
Absolutely.
the other way around.
Yeah.
So, and the most important thing is scheduling a party is just as important as scheduling downtime. Okay, you're like, I don't want to go out for a walk today. It's just too cold. It's okay.
Yeah.
Silence, just cutting off that external stimuli is just
Yeah.
good enough. I mean, of course, you will have to
Absolutely.
exercise and everything, and yeah, you have
You
to.
don't have to be constantly doing something.
Exactly,
I
exactly.
either have to be cooking, or I have to be exercising, or I have to be chatting. It's not necessary. You can just sit without doing anything. Why do you have to feel guilty about it?
Exactly. And will these likes or hearts matter on those pictures? So, whenever I am talking to anybody or anything, they're like, "Oh, do you have a social media account so that I can follow?" And I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm not really active on that and everything." And they look at my thing. Maybe because I have 100 people who are following me, which
Yeah.
I'm really grateful for those 100 people, and they never end up following me, because
Yeah.
the in their eyes, in our eyes, if we see anybody with 100 or 200 or 300, they're like, their social capital, whatever, right? They're not
Yeah.
that
Exactly.
important. But again, we were having this kind of conversation even last week. Like, how does, if you are
Matter.
doing important work here
Yes.
in your physical space with
Yes.
your full potential, things will follow, right? So
Absolutely.
that's, so yeah, just thinking through our
The other day, I
conversation.
was just reading about this. Like some of the Bollywood stars, they said
Yeah,
that now how much fan following we have, that is being seen on the social media, and based on that, we are getting film offers and also advertisements.
exactly,
Right? So we
exactly.
are now not being looked at as artists, but we are being looked at as influencers. But of
Influencers.
course, there is another thing to it. They invited it on themselves by buying so many fans, and so many of their fellow people did it and they applauded them. So now it is coming back to them. That we realize that, right? But that's what is happening. Every ordinary person also feels that I want to be an influencer, or thinks of himself as an influencer. If I say something and then four people like, oh, you've said the right thing, or I agree with you, then I feel, wow, so great. Imagine your eulogy. Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. I've written one.
yeah, that is amazing. No, I'm interested if you are looking. I mean, going to share another poem, because that was last week's was really, it shows the conflict, the way we are living online and offline, and it's just so sad at the end of the day, right? Like, so here, what is the, so there is a Latin phrase called memento mori. Memento mori is like, we are all going to die in the end, right?
Yes.
If we don't understand the urgency, memento mori is like, you only live once, that's it, you're going to be dead someday. So like, the urgency of our life and the limited time that we have here, I just cannot explain better more than those two words. It's just so, like, whenever I'm like doing something, I'm like, memento mori, I'm like, I quickly come back to my senses and not get sucked into that rabbit hole that has been created by social media. So it's it is imperative for us to understand, where we stand, and what we want to stand for. And sometimes it is like, and all these habits, right, these are just not having that long term thinking in mind. That is why it happens. We are delusional about having endless time in our life, and most importantly, avoiding the the tough things that we have to do in life. The easy thing is to just flip and like, so the most important thing, if anybody is asking, okay, so we have talked for 1 hour plus, okay, I'm still feeling like I will not be able to avoid the burnout, and like, I'm worried that I will not have a place to start. I
Yeah.
request everybody to just start by creating boundaries physically, make tech inaccessible. So if I'm
Yes.
doing important work, I just put my phone so far away that it is like it is a chore for me to get up and like get it.
Take it.
Make it inaccessible, literally. Right? So
Right.
yeah, so protect yourself from technology overload, information overload, and technology creep. Creep is, again, it is flowing into our lives without us drawing a perfect boundary for ourselves to be in. I What we do is, in our house we create tech boundaries, like physically on this mat area, on this carpet area, in this room, there cannot be any tech, because it's when we are sitting and we are actually sharing important ideas and like our plans for the next 10 days or like 15 days, and like engaging in real people conversation, right?
Absolutely.
So predict when you will have all these things that can happen to you. Okay, and set expectations with others, saying that, sorry, I'm not available for 4 hours, I will get
Yes.
back to you later. uh,
Absolutely.
so predict them, mitigate them, and eliminate them. That is the strategy that I personally use for myself. I control my environment, I set expectations so that other people are not left dangling. And then, yeah, if you know how, you have a junk food in your house, you're going to definitely reach out for it, right? So mitigate that risk by not even bringing that junk food from the market, right? So that's how it is. um,
Inside the house. Yes, absolutely.
Exactly,
Absolutely.
exactly. But
Yeah.
Girija, I just want to ask you, how do you manage for your, like, what do you see in your age bracket, like however old you are, in your demographic, how do you see people engaging with technology? What do you see? Do you see a lot of frivolous usage? Do you see like
This
important usage?
suddenly, yeah,
Yeah,
this suddenly burst on the scene, like, and
yeah,
so, like, when emails came, people did not know I should not write in all caps,
yeah.
right? So they did that. In the same
Yeah,
way,
me too, me too. Yeah.
yeah, in the same way, when Facebook came and Twitter came, people started using it indiscriminately. And then, after a period of time, is when they realized that it is sometimes impacting their family. What they write there, others also read, and it
Yeah,
does impact. So they begin to, the photographs that they put, it impacts the children, or whatever the children does,
yeah,
the parents are impacted. So they realize that even though I'm doing something on the internet and
yeah,
it's not physically there, but still it does hurt somebody else,
yeah,
or
yeah,
it does impact somebody else. It could be something constructive. I do something very good, then some my daughter's friend may say, I saw your mom's post, it is so amazing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Or, so both, it can happen both ways.
yeah,
But
yeah,
not to get carried away by that, and remain true to yourself is
yeah,
what is very important. Like you've said, that imagine your eulogy.
yeah,
So this is what I told my children, that always think like this, that I never was, I'm never here, and I never will be.
yeah,
I always was, I am here, and I am going to be.
yeah,
Both is true, depending on how you feel and how you want. Whatever gives you happiness, that's it.
yeah,
I'm nobody. So whether I am there in future, or whether I'm not there in future, whether I'm there today in your life or not, everything depends on how you want it, not how I want it. That's it.
exactly. Wow. So when you said that, I remembered this one. So Mark Ferdman says, I tweet, I post, I blog, therefore I am. That is how we have become. We have
Yeah.
become
So the
only,
moment all this is not there, we don't anymore exist. So
that's how
that
we are
means there
feeling.
is no mental space which we are occupying, people's, right? So
Yeah,
that's why I tell my children that I am,
yeah,
I can always think I was there, I am
yeah,
here, and I will
yeah,
be there.
yes,
And I can also choose to think I never was, I never am, I never will be.
yeah,
Because I'm
yeah,
just a part, a speck in the universe. So who I am is dependent on how the other person takes it. So
yeah,
I'm no, on myself, I don't have it is like water. No color, nothing. You take the form of the utensils that you take. Similarly, we are what the others perceive us. Matter ends there for me.
so,
How useful I am, how good I am, how much happiness I give to somebody, everything depends on them. I'm nobody, I'm not something big that I can do anything.
see, I'm actually not really surprised that people in your age demographic are also being equally challenged, like young adults, like teens, like children,
Exactly.
almost to a
It's
point
like
of
a toy
getting
that we got
lost.
suddenly, right? And they never
Yeah,
had it all their life. So our generation has witnessed two very big different this thing. There was a time when I got married and came to Mumbai. I
yeah,
had to write in inland letters. 4 days it
yeah.
would take for the letter to reach my mom, and 4 days for them to reply. So 8 days it would take for me to come to know about one thing. If I want to say I was 19 and I got married, Amma,
Yeah.
how to write, how to make medu vada, if I write to her, it will take 8 days for me to get the response.
That is
Now it is
amazing.
like my daughter says something and it is there online all the time.
Yeah,
We are online and we are watching both.
yeah, yeah,
We are
yeah,
watching
exactly.
together. So
Yeah,
both we have seen. So when
yeah,
this is available, then there are some people who have pounced on it, and there
yeah,
are some people who are afraid of it. Like I
yeah,
have many of them are like, if I press some wrong button, maybe the message will go to
yeah.
somebody, or maybe from a bank account, all my money will go, so I won't touch. There are people like that also.
That is true. That is true.
Yes.
It is scary as well
They
as
won't
just
book a.
overwhelming.
They don't do say their airlines booking from the bank. Online
Yeah,
transactions they
yeah,
don't do because they're afraid. So
yeah.
that is also happening.
My father is the tech savvy person in his group. He's 70
Yeah.
years old, and so he is the tech savvy guy. He
Correct.
literally books like
For
flights
everyone.
and trains irrationally for like. I'm like, Dad, you at some point you need to empower them to understand. They're like, it's
Exactly.
just too easy for me to just do the clicks myself instead of having to explain. And I'm like, you're
Explain to them.
talking like my teenager, right? Because my teenager is like, Amma, just give me your phone. I'll just do all the settings that you want and just give it. He doesn't even want to explain. He doesn't want to spend two
Exactly.
minutes to help me so that I don't
Yes.
have to keep bothering him again and again,
Bothering
right?
him all the time, and we don't like that feeling of dependency, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Exactly, exactly.
Absolutely. But that is what happens. That's what happens because sometimes people do not know how to explain it, and
Yeah,
they feel that they are very being useful to other people. That is
yeah,
also a sense of
yeah,
happiness that it gives them at that age because they are not working or whatever. So that is also another thing. But ultimately, many people, even if you tell them, they're scared to
yeah.
open the phone and do it. They'll say, "No, I would rather that you do it. I'm scared." So I
So,
would give you the money cash, but you do
yeah,
this.
I
Or I
know.
will transfer to your account back from bank to bank. But they won't use Google Pay. They won't use any other online devices. They won't do that.
I was see I like I mean, of course we are embracing the whole technology in such a nice way. It is good and at the same time scary because of the scale that it offers. So it is. Ayush here was talking about how his niece was addicted to technology. I just
Yes,
uh, unless the family itself is seeing that as a problem, I request all the parents to think their own digital habits around their children, because
absolutely.
the thing that I see is the problem is the parents are hopelessly distracted and addicted to their own devices and are expecting children to behave some other way. So that is not going to happen. Do as I say is not going to work. Do as I do will work, right?
Even do as I do sometimes doesn't work because what you do, children are not even having the time to look up from their
Yeah,
gadgets. You may be doing all the work, you may be doing puja, you may be cleaning up the house, but if children don't even see it, how are they going to appreciate the discipline?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it is the world is becoming more and more complex and difficult for the parents.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
on
exactly.
this note, if
Yeah,
you have nothing more to say, like you were talking about how gadgets have taken away our life, I
yeah.
have a small poem which I have not written. I have found it very, very relevant. I can relate it now, and then probably can gather your thoughts and close it.
Okay, okay. You can do your thing, and I can just summarize all the
Yes, you
points
can
that we
summarize.
can take away.
Because on this note, I have got this. You had talked about it, how gadgets have taken our lives, and I have got a poem by Joseph Sinclair, which I found it very, very relevant. So he
Okay.
says, widgets and gadgets, gizmos and apps, whatever happened to cause the collapse of my simple world? What happened to the simple pleasures, the joy of simply living, the joy of simply loving? All consigned to the limbo of 1,000 electronic gizmos. I used to love a lass. I gave her all I had in time and space and multiple delights. But it is not enough to satisfy her nights. Without apps, she snaps. That needs her gizmo. Without widgets, she fidgets. She must have her gadgets. Imagine. So, this is the pain somebody has expressed.
It is just, yeah, it is showing how they're hopelessly addicted to all these
Somebody is
new
sitting right
flashy
next to
things.
you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Like I said the other day, I had a friend whose husband would turn the other side when she
yeah,
wants, she's had been dying the entire day to talk with him,
yeah,
and he's looking at porn.
yeah,
There is,
yeah,
and she is such a very beautiful woman. There is such a beautiful woman next to
yeah,
you.
yeah.
And they're looking at that something plastic which you cannot see, which you cannot talk, and then something that is appearing there. But that's how it is.
So,
Yes.
okay. So I just want to show you this particular article here again. If there are things that the big tech owners and the big tech employees are themselves talking, and we need to take them seriously because they know a lot of things about the addictive qualities of our big tech,
Yes.
and we need to be able to empower ourselves to understand that it is not our lack of self discipline that is leading to our online behaviors. It is much more than something in play. Okay, so here let me wrap up by all the things that we just talked about. All these things that we have talked about enable us in one way or another to help ourselves, our teens, and our children find digital screen sucking behaviors. Okay, so the first thing is physically make it impossible for you to stay on your phone longer. Give somebody a commitment. Hey, in 10
Ah,
minutes, let's go out and play. So you literally know that you have only 10 minutes and your child has to make you accountable, right? And now you're under this pressure to like just go out and play, like physically wean off of your device to do something else with them, right? So give yourself commitment, an
yes,
external commitment, so that that can be binding to you. So
absolutely.
create physical boundaries like that, physical expectations like that. Remove these temptations around you. Understand that email is somebody else's agenda for you rather than it is something that you have to work with as your priority. Okay. Stop electrifying your
Somebody
nights.
else's requirement.
Exactly. They have something that they want you to do because of which they are hounding you via email or message. Yeah.
Yeah,
The next thing is stop electrifying your night the night before, because your day will absolutely suck if you are not sleeping on time. Right. So imagine yourself to have a productive day today only if you stop electrifying your night yesterday. And remember that Netflix's recommendations, Facebook's no lack of ending, like internet is, it can go on forever. Every time you open it, you'll find something novel. Like it's a new thing that you can see. They're all designed for addictions. Okay,
absolutely.
give yourself, so I have an oath that I have given myself. 1 year I'm going to stop shop. It means I'm not going to buy anything new for myself. That is,
Absolutely.
I am in the middle of it right now. Not something to wear, something to make me look in a certain way, nothing.
Absolutely.
So give yours so that you can cut down on unnecessary expenditure online.
Not only that, but we are creating so much for the landfill and so much fashion. One jeans is going to 85 buckets of water. That is what it is taking. And what are we doing? We are not realizing that we just wear it for 2, 3 times and then we are throwing it and nothing is being made out of
Fast
it.
fashion,
And
yeah.
it's
If
all filling
you
up the landfills. So we
if
are causing problem for so many people. There are so many countries which are filled with the, dump that we have put in those countries. And they are literally struggling what to do with it, just
it's
because
a
they are not fully occupied or they are poor countries. Rich countries go and dump it there, and they are having in their backyard all poisonous emitting substances, because all our devices are going and they're there. You have a phone and then you bought a new phone, you go and dump it there. So all this is something very, very, you are not realizing that you have been giving a, we have been bestowed or blessed with a beautiful world, and
yeah.
instead of planting a tree, we are sowing poison around there everywhere without realizing it. So
Fast
that is
fashion,
why mindful purchase is required. Like you said about clothes, absolutely, what is
yeah,
required, only buy that. Don't keep
yeah.
buying things which you are not going to use, right? And
It's
people are
a,
not
my
even
cell phone.
handing over, or there is no, people don't, like earlier days it used to, they will okay, a jeans they will cut and make it into a bag, and they will
Yeah,
go for shopping, or they
yeah,
will use it as a swab cloth. Now for
yeah,
everything, okay, you have tissues, you don't want it, so
yeah.
everything just goes out.
See, fast fashion was yeah, showcased in Hassan Minaj's podcast, and it was showcased by Adam Ruins Everything. There are some pretty good channels who talked about fast fashion and how these merchandise companies want you to keep on. Oh, this is fall fashion. This is some other fashion.
Absolutely.
You know how, like, when will you
Yeah, you
stop?
look
There's no
trim in
end to.
this, you look better in this, etc.,
Yeah,
etc. And it is
yeah,
you accept yourself the way you are. That's it. The whole world will accept you, and if they're not, they go to hell.
yeah.
Doesn't matter.
So see, and I request you to, when you're okay, so you are like, oh, I'm still hopelessly addicted to internet, blah blah blah. What you can do is you can channel your internet usage in something like challenge yourself to like learn a new language. Do something. Keep
Absolutely.
yourself.
Learn Gita free. There
Yeah,
is Gita online, free
there is
classes.
so
Absolutely.
many so many free resources, and you can literally
Yeah.
go to college on the
Coursera.
internet for free.
Coursera
Coursera,
offers so many
Udemy,
courses. Yes, yes.
Udemy,
Absolutely. Udemy.
Coursera.
Udemy. Yes.
Exactly.
So,
So, understanding that bad news is the only news. So, man's stupidity or Mother Nature's fury, only these things make news, right? So,
absolutely.
what is happening with FTX? So, FTX is a cryptocurrency company that went belly up right now, and the 30-year-old gentleman who was the CEO of it is now behind bars.
Yes.
He has swindled people of $8 billion now. Paul Logan is another YouTuber who has now swindled money, and today Coffeezilla, one of the biggest YouTuber investigative
Exactly.
journalists,
Yes.
has
Mm.
exposed him
Yeah.
of swindling customers or people who think of him as a great influencer in their life. So there's so many things that are happening, which is all bad news, right? So news consumption does not have to be something in our checklist every single day, because it's always something that stupid things have happened here, and yeah, we
Yes,
can.
Rudaba has said something very important. Don't go to random spaces. Yes, your time is so valuable, and don't go listen to every nonsense which is doesn't matter to your life. That's it.
See, going to spaces, so first of all, we cannot attach importance to ourselves in a way that I have to go figure out something that maybe they are talking about me. Everything can be personalized.
Yeah,
We are talking about 800 different people, but there will be similar characters between you and that other person, right? So you start
absolutely.
imagining, you'll be delusional in a way that people are talking about yourself. That might not be the case all the time, and that can lead to stress. So he has a very good point. And
Yes.
see, mindfulness is something so important. If we are here in the moment doing the right thing, there's no other chance for us to do anything but the right thing. We cannot even indulge ourselves in doing the wrong thing. So um,
Absolutely.
create a handbook for yourself, create a template blueprint for how your life should look like, imagine your eulogy because life is too short. And yeah, start today. It's not an all or nothing approach. Even if you're lost 4 hours in like some mindless things, you can still come back and own that day. So that's
Yes. Absolutely. Own your time and be accountable for your own time to your own self, not somebody else. Like
exactly.
if I'm listening to YouTube or watching YouTube all the time, I'm watching what the content somebody else has made. Of course, yes, they have also invested their time. Probably they would have spent 5 hours in a research, and I'm getting it all in half an hour. But it is like consuming something because it is freely available. It's like I go to a mall and then I say, okay, there is 40% discount. So I have not even planned to buy that, but I buy the blazer nevertheless. I buy the top nevertheless, just because it is available free. The same thing we are doing with, say, YouTube or any other media. Just because somebody has put out some research and you find it interesting, how is it relevant to your life? And also think, if you can contribute something there, what are you doing there? Can you, if you're spending 2 hours watching somebody else's, then is there something half an hour that you can sit there and create for yourself? Look at that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just want you to be watchful of, a lot of people have now gone to the other end of using tech to enable them to help with their digital addictions. There's so many apps like the Forest app. There are so many apps like the anti-social, freedom, cold turkey, self-control, focus me, and blackout, covenant eyes. There's so many apps that are now promising you to keep you away from addictive habits. But again, they are also getting your data from you while you are on the app. While you're using the app, so you have to be careful about how our data is being used. All this comes, all our behaviors will change once we have the awareness, the education, and we feel empowered to
Yeah.
take things in matter into our hands.
And it's also good to create a affinity group where
Yeah,
I can watch and I can tell you, Rachna,
yeah,
this is your goal, and are you following it up? So we
yeah,
can share our digital goals. How do we
yeah,
want to diet, and what
yeah.
is it that we want to do, and we each can monitor and motivate each other to follow that. That is
Exactly.
another thing that we can do.
Exactly. You can create an accountability partner. Like I do intermittent fasting a few times a year, and then I have a friend. We have a WhatsApp group. We are like, I was good today. I was bad today. I was good today. You have like that accounting partner, and like, okay, if you like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't want to like suck in front of my friend. Like I want to be like in my best behavior. I
Oh,
just want to. So I will keep up with that behavior, right? So that's a great
absolutely.
idea. Have an accountable buddy that you
But
can.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, it helps. It can be
Yeah.
even your own spouse or family member, children,
Exactly.
because then it becomes more, accountable, because they also
Yeah.
become accountable. They also understand this is a habit. So first is you start, like just like charity starts at home, good habits start at home. You do
Exactly.
something, and others in the family also follow it. So slowly it spreads around.
Exactly,
Yes.
exactly.
It was wonderful session. We didn't realize the passage of time. I think internet, our session was being attacked. There was something like 3,000, 4,000 people suddenly jumping. It became 5,000, 6,000, and then it went down. That is why there was so much of internet bouncing up and down. But I
Okay,
said, I
okay,
didn't want to distract the attention. I said, let it be. It was
okay.
really very funny, the watching that count going up and down. Yeah.
Thank you everyone for all your comments. Really,
All
really
the
appreciate that.
comments. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much. And very, very interactive. And it was very nice. Yes. Digital well being
For my
feature in
resume.
Android. Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah,
Again,
exactly.
depend on Android to have your digital.
Exactly.
FOMO will replace JOMO. Yes. Very good. Yes.
Exactly.
Let us all aim for that. Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you
Thank you
everyone.
so
Thank
much.
you.
Meet you again next week. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.
Bye. So you remain. I'll just end the
Okay.
broadcast.